Game. I spent too much time with Alan Precious.
This time we're ready. Timekeepers are good. Judges, competitors, go! Well, they've had a little bit of a break. We need to wind ourselves and the public up again because these shearers are going to be ripping this wool off pretty smartly. They'll be looking to do these sheep, 5 sheep at the same time. We took the juniors to shear theirs. So let's set them alight and enjoy the spectacle.
Yeah, we got a very good lineup, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Bevan Perry from Gisborne on stand number 1. Khan Culshaw from Mataura in the deep south down below Gore there on stand number 2. Jack Diva from Wairarapa on stand number 3. Catherine Maluli from Matawai on stand number 4. She's shearing out in Pongaroa. Then we got Simon Goss from Kimbolton on stand number 5. And then Sean Lewis from down in the Lampeter country in Wales on stand number 6. So who's the first to show a little bit of pace now then? It looks as if it could be the Welshman. It could be Sean Lewis down there on stand number 6 as he steps over. Khan Culshaw is right up there with him. Who's going to get to the turn out of those two? I think it's Khan Culshaw. Khan Culshaw turns. Sean turns. Jack turns. Where's Catherine Maloli? She's been doing a lot of winning this year, ladies and gentlemen. Into those long blows she goes. A beautiful style there. Very, very capable. The young lady shearing on stand number 4. But it's the men on 2, 5 and 6. Down the last side they come on. Stand number 3's right there as well. Bevan Perry from Gisborne. He's right there as well. Out the hind leg he goes. But it's Khan Culshaw, the Mataura man. In he goes to sheep number 2, John.
Yeah, we're just looking along the board there. These young shearers, the top qualifying points to get into the semi-final was 28, and there was 10 points between 1 and number 16, number 18. So some of these guys got a little bit of ground to make up as they battle it in and get ready to go.
Yeah, thanks, John. I'll just interrupt just for a moment, guys. For all open shearers, we want to see all open shearers up here now, please. We'll get you registered and get a t-shirt, all open shearers.
Okay, back to the shearing here. Beautiful undermine there from Jack Diva. Big wide back on that sheep, and he choked his comb and made it happen for him. What about 6 or 7 blows? It looked like he cut off that much wool as he drops now towards the first shoulder now. But it's still Mataura's Culshaw, drops into the long blow. Here he goes, sheep number 2 on the board. They've got 5 to shear. Bevan Perry from Gisborne into the long blow on the front stand. Catherine Maluli from Matawai just down the road. He up the neck and around the back of the head she goes. Into the first shoulder, Simon Goss, the local, or more local than anything. He's from Kimbolton. Down the far ends, the Welshman. By golly, these Welshmen keep popping up all over the place here. Sean Lewis comes across the shoulder. He's doing pretty well. Stand number 6. Just keep an eye on those board points up there. That'll tell you how the shearer's going. The yellow points at the end of the job will tell you how they've been. Whether they've been any good or been no good. Because it's going to certainly sort somebody out there today. This is down to the last 18. Here we go. Culshaw right with Jack Diva for Wairarapa. The south versus the north there in the speed stakes at the moment. In goes the Welshman down there. Hugh, he's firing some good shots in that young fella from the Wales. Look at him go. A little bit of trouble getting that big fat lady down the portal. Hey, did Simon Goss. She didn't want to slide down there easily. Catherine Maluli out the last leg. Just back off the pace a little bit. But the quality's good. Average of 1 there on the outside. That looks pretty sharp to me. Up the neck is Jack Diva. He's probably just slipped out in front at the moment. Up over the top comes the Welshman. He's let the brakes off down there now. Bevan Perry's got one that doesn't want the skirt off it. Sits it still and back and takes the cap off now and steps forward for the neck. Khan Culshaw down into the long blow he goes, Hugh, but Jack Diva, he's hanging in there. There's a bit of a battle in the middle of the field for the dominant spot.
Yeah, a bit of a ding-dong going on stands 2 and 3, ladies and gentlemen. Khan and Jack on stands 2 and 3. I think Jack has gone just a blow out in front this time. Sean Lewis, the young Welshman there on stand number 6. He's coming after him as well. How's young Simon Goss getting on? He's been working a couple of days with Johnny Kirkpatrick just to get his eye in. And he's got to the turn. He's coming down the last side. Where's the man now? It's Khan Culshaw. He's coming down that last side. He's got a very, very fast last side.
Good
out the hind leg, right out
internet
to the
audience.
Ooh, but she
We've
right
just got
the
intermediate semi-finals going on, and the screen there, as you can see, there's messages of goodwill coming via the text messages. There's a link there, a phone number if you want to send a text message, SMS. But on the screen at the moment, we've got the Trust House as the sponsor of the semi-finals. And there's a big boy on stand number 2, and that's Khan Culshaw, and he's from the South Island, Matoda. Okay, the screens have got a big wide shot here, and the guy on stand number 1, Bevan Pede from Gisborne, he's changed his handpiece. The shearers have 2 handpieces. He's gone through and done 3 sheep, and now he's decided to change the handpiece and get a fresh cut. But look, no disrespect, but there's a young lady on there from Matawai, Catherine Maluli. She's on stand number 5. We can't see her at the moment. There she is on stand number 5 in the foreground there. This is a young lady that lists as her hobby gardening, painting, and she can pick up a handpiece and she can wield it as just as good as the men folk. Up the neck she goes. This is a young lady from Matawai. And I have to say that she has been the form shearer in the intermediate class, I think, in New Zealand. So this young lady here in the foreground is the top intermediate shearer, and she gives the boys a good old hurry up for their money. She's on the long blow. She's getting ready to turn. And there on the screen is, there she is. She's turning. Khan Culshaw is being chased along by Jack Diva. Jack Diva, the boy from Wairarapa, he started with a whiz and a bang and down the last side. But the big boy from Matoda, he's just coming down the last side and he's ready to go in for sheep number 5. Number 5's on the board, coming up now. The judges' rolls, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, look at this, Catherine Maluli. She's not giving up now. Simon Goss, the boy that's won the last couple of shows, is on stand 5 next to her. But it's going to be Catherine Maluli. That's going to need a... Oh, no. Sean Lewis, the Welshman. Rakida, he goes into the pen and gets out sheep number 5. The Welshman, if you any Welsh folk there that are tuned into this World Champs, look at the boy from Wales. He's into the undermine. He's turning into the undermine. Big strokes coming up for the Welshman. He's got the wood on these other 2 competitors. Simon Goss, oh, it's a wriggler. The young Maluli girl, she's just floating around there. She floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee. Into the undermine she goes. She's putting in those big shots, but the Welshman up there and round behind the ear he goes. There he is, and is turning to the front of the stage. The boys in the front. There we are. We've got the shots of Bevan Pede, but the big boy on stand number 2 from Matoda in the deep south. He's the big boy. He's got the big pants on, but it's not big enough for him. Onto the first shoulder, Jack Diva, the Wairarapa boy, sheep number 5. He's chasing him long. Long blow time for this boy as he turns to the last side. He's got the wood on, the big boy from the South Island, the deep south boy. Khan Culshaw down the last side, but it is Jack Diva, the East Coast boy on the North Island. Down the last side he goes, but Khan is not lying down. He's going to give it another good shot. You folks out there are witnessing the intermediate semi-final, and you can hear the commentators in the background just urging these shearers on. There's a beautiful big wide view. There's all these shearers, and look at the beautiful logo, the Golden Shears. Turning to the last side, and I think there's one more sheep in the pen. Oh no, that's it, sheep 5. Look at the points on there. We can see that the young Jack Diva has had a very good shear. He's finished with 36.118. The lowest points are the ones we're looking for. So that first one is out, and Bevan Pede, he's sitting on 33 now, if you can see it in your screen there. 33, he's the one that's sitting the best at the moment, followed by Catherine Maluli, who's sitting on 33.6, but she will most likely be our top qualifier out of this first event. Catherine Maluli, she's finished on 34.6, And she's looking there. There she is. She's having a look up the screen, has a giggle to herself. She says, got you boys, ready for the next round.
McGruddy on stand number 5. Darren Alexander on stand number 4. Ramon Smith on stand number 3. Marshall Guy on stand number 2. And Adam Morton on stand number 1. Well, what was the time set that took 9 minutes and 38 seconds to shear the last of the shearers to complete his job, Hugh? Pretty sharp sort of some jobs up there. Did you happen to keep an eye on what score was out in front? Five more sheep to shear in this Trust House semi-final of the intermediate shearing competition. We've got the green light, so we need everybody back on the board. You only get hurt if you go in there. They're big wild animals, those sheep. Come on out. When we got one out, we need them all out.
Timekeepers ready.
They are ready. We have a green light. Stand 5. Thank you. You're happy enough. Everybody happy up there. Timekeepers right. Judges. Competitors, go! Oh, straight into the pen, these guys. Hey, they like the pace of that first heat. They know that this is going to be a competition and a half here. And the top qualifier in the middle of the field is Darren Alexander, Hugh, and he'll be hoping he can do everything right and make it work again for him and get through to the next round.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got Adam Morton from Wairarapa on stand number 1. Marshall Guy from Kyo on stand number 2. Stepped up into this intermediate from the juniors. Ramon Smith from Gisborne is on stand number 3. Darren Alexander from Whangamomona, or Wonga, whichever camp you're in. Then we got Dylan McGruddy from Masterton on stand number 5. Ryan Boot from Wairarapa is up there on stand number 6. Spends a lot of time in Australia. He's dropping into the shoulder, but it's Dylan McGruddy at the minute. The Masterton man, the local boy. He's working as a farmhand over in Australia at the minute. But he's coming back into this shearing game. Down round that shoulder he comes. He's pulling away from the rest of the field. He'd love to make this big intermediate final. The Trust House intermediate sponsored shearing final will be following on, and they really want to get there. They'll be going from the top 18 down to the top 6. So it's the men on stands 2 and 5 at the minute then. Marshall Guy from Kyo is chasing Dylan McGruddy. Dylan McGruddy's up there and he goes to sheep number 2. Marshall Guy down here on Kyo, where's his far now? They'll be shouting him on. They'll be getting him to work in a minute. In goes Dylan McGruddy for 2 though. In goes Marshall for 2. Where's Ryan Boot? Ryan will go in for 2 in a couple of blows. Darren Alexander from Nanaki. Taranaki there on stand number 4. He's got the belly wool coming off. But it's Dylan McGruddy. He's got it all under control. Marshall Guy. She's just popped her head out. He looks a little bit uncomfortable. He pops it back in. And now he's away, John.
They're testing these shearers, aren't they, these sheep? They're really giving them a workout. The number of shearers that have actually got to readjust after trying to do the belly is increasing. So it's a catching disease for these little sheep. They've had a little bit of a chat in the catching pen. He says, let's give these boys and girls a bit of a stick. Up over the top here on stand number 2. Marshall Guy from Kyo keeping it nice and good for the judges as they're looking in, but the pace down there on 5. He's coming across the shoulders, McGruddy, the local lad. Having a lot of fun. Under the shoulder and down and out to the flank, but he's dead serious about making that final later on. Ryan Boot steps up the neck. Around the back of the head comes Darren Alexander. He's had a battle with a couple of sheep he's shorn so far. Ramon Smith from Gisborne, down the first off leg, the undermine for him. Slow but steady as he goes. Over the top was Morton. He had a fiery one in the first one. He's
well, folks, we're back to the live entertainment here at the Golden Shears for 2014, and we're into the second heat of the Trust House semi-finals. Trust House, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what's their role, they're the big community here, and they put in something like about $50,000 into sponsorship for the Golden Shears. In this event, they are the major sponsor. And just looking at the screens, we had Catherine Maluli. She was the girl that came through with the lowest disqualification points, so she's sitting at the top of the Christmas tree, and now these guys are all having to work backwards, or some could do even better and knock her off that pedestal. On the screen there, we've got Marshall Guy, a 17-year-old young Northlander, and I see some very good, interesting text messages coming through for this young man who's just a little beanstalk. Into the undermine he goes, and on stand number 1 is a Wairarapa boy, another East Coaster, and he's a big, powerful lad as he steps up the neck. But this young, weedy, stalk bean of a boy, Marshall Guy, beat him to the top, and look at the points for Marshall Guy, 15, whereas Adam Morton is on 22. Ramon Smith, the big Gisborne boy, is a little bit lower. But back on the screen again, we've got Darren Alexander, and he comes from a very unusual name called Whangamomina, and that's over there in the Taranaki district. Dylan McGruddy on stand number 5, Masterton lad, as he tosses a sheep. Oh, it decides, wants to go other ways. Ryan Boot on stand number 6. These sheep, if you're not familiar with them, they're not tame animals, they're alive and they're wild, and they really don't like human contact too much. So you'll see the skills of these young shearers, and we're getting through to the open class, which is coming up in a short time, and you see the skills of those athletes, how they hold the sheep, and it's almost like they've hypnotized the animal. It sits there and it just really looks relaxed, but I tell you what, you give it an inch and it'll take a mile. Up the bellies and down the last sides, the long blows, the top notches are shorn away. Ryan Boot from Waitara. There's a Waitara in the Taranaki district. Well, this could be the young Boot boy as he gets ready to step up the neck. He shakes his head a little bit and says, "Sit still, you little bugger." Up the neck he goes. Oh, it's still wanting to rock and roll with him. Up the neck he goes, sit still. But down the last side is the Masterton guy. McGruddy is out on his own. He's flying down the last side. Well, we'll take you back to the stadium commentators and see where they're at now. Thank you.
They must be wicked like us. Look at him come down that last side. Change of steel down there now. For McGruddy, he says, I'm going to get into that final for my hometown crowd. Oh, the belly coming off now. The 5th and final sheep. Who's the closest to him? And Marshall Guy starting to poke a few quick ones in here. Ramon Smith comes across the shoulder and down and out to the flank. Marshall Guy starting to poke him in quick. Adam Morton turning with the last side on the 1. Last side for Ryan Boot down there is well with Darren Alexander, who's probably just trailing the field at the moment. Over the shoulder he comes, but the pace still there with McGruddy on 5. Up the neck and around the back of the head. Marshall Guy says, look out, I'm Stephen behind you. Ramon Smith starting to get a bit of a skip on now on stand number 3.
Well, we're back live, audience, and we've had to come back to this because this is a very exciting. We're in the hometown here in Masterton, and we've got a Masterton lad, Dylan McGruddy. There he is on stand number 5 in between these two shearers. The long blows, that's the long blow side of the sheep as he turns to the last side. These shearing techniques, the shearing styles have all been aptly named, and he's coming down the last side. The closest to him would be the guy on stand number 2. That's Marshall Guy as he steps around the neck, but the Masterton lads just powering away. Dylan McGrady down the last side he goes, and his time has been taken. I don't think he'll be as good as Catherine Maluli, but he's not too far away. Ryan Boot decides to change his handpiece. He's putting on a new one. Down the last side is Dylan McGrady. Here he is. He's just finishing off the finishing touches, and he'll go for the red button. He's switched off. A little bit of noise from the hometown crowd here, but look at this young beanstalk of a man, young Marshall guy tipping up the last leg there as he heads home to the last shots on the sheep. Chased along there by Adam Morton as he works his way out. Ramon Smith, the Gisborne, big, tall, handsome Gisborne boy, down the last side. He's tearing along as well. Darren Alexander on the long blow. Ryan Boot, the last one gave him the bit of the boot too, so he might have to change his name and go Ryan Foot. But at the moment he's up the neck and the damn thing won't sit still for him. Down the last side, these other two boys go. Oh, I think Marshall Guy and Ramon Smith are sitting on 34, but Darren Alexander, look at this stage. I could be wrong, but this guy is probably sitting at the top of the tree at the moment on these first two events that have come through. And we'll have a running record. Not quite sure if you can see it. Come on, Marshall, doing well, Bo, Team Guy, hi, Sammy, lol. That's some of the text messages that are coming through. As Ryan Boot heads south, down the last side he goes. Oh, Ramon Smith has still got another sheep. He's a little bit behind. This is his first season in the intermediate class. No disrespect, this is getting difficult for these guys, and if you're not up with the speed, you can get caught out. So the points will come through, and we'll go back to our stadium commentators.
Shearing, one of the most difficult parts of the sheep. He's pushing that steel as hard as he can go. Into the first front shoulder he goes now then. Rolling that sheep, nice and easy does it. The sweat is pouring off the young fella up there on stand number 3. And now he's on to those long blows, John.
Yeah, well, just as these shearers complete the task, we got the Makura College over there on the in the cheap seats in the red uniforms. Good to see those young aspiring New Zealanders over there who've come to watch the best shearing competition in the world at the Golden Shears here in Masterton for 2014. As these young shearers now get into their work, a little bit behind the pace they were, still doing a very good quality job, but the time points are going against them. As we come out the last leg now for Ramon Smith, into the long blow for Ryan Boot. You wouldn't think you'd get a sheep and a half put around your over 5 sheep, but by golly, those young fellas were going pretty sharp as Ramon Smith finishes off, and he gets a time around about 11 minutes. And down there on the far end, Ryan Boot, the young fella for Wairarapa, coming across the shoulder now, working away. Not too many young fellas use the old braces to hold the pants up, but I tell you what, it takes all the pressure off the hips. And down the last side he comes, rolling out the last leg. Still shearing very, very well, of course. He's got an average of 2.8 second cuts a sheep at the moment, which is a pretty sharp, just gone up to 3, an average of 5 out the back. Well, give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That's heat number 2 in the Trust House semi-final.
Yeah, thank you, John. Just a reminder to open shearers that haven't registered, would you mind doing so, guys? It makes our job a lot easier up here. If you guys get in early, open shearers, come and get a singlet, let us know you're here. We can mark you off and get on with this job. Also, just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that the bar is open up in the southeastern corner of our stadium. Kerry and her staff are up there. We'll be welcoming you with open arms, so by all means go and get some refreshments, but bear in mind the drink driving situation, for goodness sake. If you're overindulged, make sure you've got somebody designated to drive you about. We don't want any mishaps or accidents due to overindulgence. But also, people, if you're eating up in the seats and what have you, please take your rubbish to a rubbish tin. Be much appreciated. Seems to be a lot of rubbish being left on seats, and just somebody else has to clean it up for you. So if you wouldn't mind just cleaning up after you, that would be appreciated. Just about underway, Heat 3, final heat of our Intermediate Trust House semi-final. And we'll be rocking into our World Woolhandling, our second draw on that, and then into the Open Shearing.
So once again, 5 sheep to shear. This event sponsored by Trust House. Shearers on the board, please. Beautiful sheep. You've had the advantage of watching 2 heats go, and they've been brilliantly shorn. The sheep are strong. Save your energy. Don't get hurt in there. Give it all your best. We have the green light, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody happy? Timekeepers right. Judges, competitors, go. Oh, a quick start from Tani here on the front stand, by golly. The local man, he thought, right, I'm going to be into that pen. But he's up against some great shearers, Hugh, and you've got a couple of your compatriots up there as well here in this event. So no doubt you're going to get a little bit boisterous, and I might have to just cut you off now and again to bring you down to size.
Yeah, no change there then, John. So we got Tani Matiaha. We saw him this morning in the wool pressing competition up the back. He's a busy man yesterday. He did the wool pressing, the wool handling, and the shearing heats as well. Then we got Alan Lloyd-Jones. He's from Corwen in North Wales on stand number 3. Then we got Anir Pugh. He's also from Mid Wales on stand number 3. He's another good shearer. He was here last year. He made the semi-finals in the juniors. He'd love to make this intermediate final. Then we got Lyle Windleburn from Rangiora on stand number 4. Jesse Edmonds from Whanganui. He's from a very famous shearing whānau there on stand number 5. His father is a world record holder. And then we got Larry Fleming, another one from a big shearing whānau. His mother is a wool handling master up there on stand number 6. So it's great to see these shearing families all the way through this shearing game. So it's the young man then on stand number 3 at the minute. It's Anir Pugh from Wales. Out the hind leg he goes. There'll be a lot of Welshmen watching this over on the internet. I'm sure they're shouting at their screens at the minute. In goes Anir Pugh for sheep number 2. Alan Lloyd-Jones. He's from Corwen up in North Wales. He's putting the finishing touches. In goes Lyle Windleburn for sheep number 2. Alan Jones, he goes in for sheep number 2. They know they've got to set a good pace. They've seen what's been set earlier, and they'd love to make that top 6 to make it into the big final. Anir Pugh, big shots going in there on stand number 3. Our judges are watching out for every little blow, ladies and gentlemen. They're making sure that they take as much off as they can. Anir Pugh goes up the neck. Alan Jones goes into the back leg. Lyle Windleburn's already been there and done that. Jesse Edmonds brings out sheep number 2. Tane has got sheep number 2 out. Larry Fleming brings out 2. So this is a good semi-final, John.
Oh, I wouldn't think you'd give up the microphone by the look of the way this young man Pugh's going here on stand number 3. He's laying the law down here in the final heat. Rocking it up the long blow now. Leading off in front of Lyle Winterburn from Rangiora. He's starting to throw some big shots into that first soft shoulder. Into the long blow he goes. Who's next in line? Could be Jones, the other Welshman here on stand number 2. Matty Haar on the front stand here, the local lad from Masterton. He probably needs a little bit of support. He's up here away from the rest of the crowd. He's doing the business, though. He's keeping the job right. Remember, they've got to get down into that about the high or the low 30s would be optimum for the final score for these young gentlemen. Out the last leg there for Pugh. Put in the good shots, and one over the tail, one over the hock, and let it go down the chute, because there's another big, strong, wild animal in your pen. You've got to get the wool off it in the fastest possible time and the greatest possible workmanship thrown into the job. Out the last leg there for Winterburn, sorry, and he showed a great lot of form in the elimination round. He just sat back for about 2 sheep and then just let the brakes off, and away he went. Perhaps it's his tactics again here today. Just sit in behind, let everybody make the mistakes. I'll just follow them and then come home with a withering run. Finishing touches there for Edmonds down on stand number 5. Boy, he's a chip off the old block. Steady hand, steady into the pen. Doesn't want to spook his sheep. Hey, he just looks like his father, by golly. Down the last side now is Larry Fleming. Another name we've learned to know and love over the years there at the Golden Shears. And out the last leg he comes. Hey, crikey, look at the great quality control. Let's not upset him. That's a big, monstrous sheep he just put down the porthole on stand number 6. But still out in front is the Welshman. Pew in the middle of the field. Right behind him, though, 3-4 blows back is Winterburn from Rangiora on the 4th stand. 3 or 4 blows further back is Jones from Wales on the 2nd. A couple of 3 or 4 blows back is Tani from Masterton here on the front. So there's about 3 or 4 blows separate them right along the board. But it's still the Welshman coming over the last shots on the last side. Sheep number 3, he's got 2 left in the pen. He'll be wanting to get in there as fast as he can, and 5 minutes are just gone there, Hugh.
Yeah, he's really going for the doctor, and he's going for the speed card. Get down there, he said, and in he goes for sheep number 4. He's in and out. He's like a racing snake there on stand number 3, ladies and gentlemen. He was no time in that pen. He's got the belly wool coming off. Lyle Windelburn out the hind leg. He's coming after him. He's going to really fight. He's just sitting in the slipstream at the minute. In he goes for sheep number 4. Alan Jones. He's putting the finishing touches. He'll be racing in for sheep number 4. He's keeping a job. That's what he's thinking on stand number 2. In he goes for sheep number 4. Where's Larry Fleming? He's doing a beautiful job. The young fella up there on stand number 6. So too is Jesse Edmonds from Whanganui. He's having a good go. In he goes for sheep number 4. Change of handpiece of Jesse. Now he's put the fast comb on. He's saying, I'll catch you fellas on this one. Up and it goes Anir Pew. Lyle Windelburn is coming after him. Into the shoulder is Anir. Up the neck is Lyle. Alan Jones, he goes up the neck as well. So it's the 2 Welshmen. They're really giving it a good go. They'd love to make this big intermediate final. Kindly sponsored by the Trust House. Into the front shoulder goes Lyle Windelburn as Anir Pew steps over. Oh, she kicks. Alan Jones is coming after him on stand number 2. The men on 2, 3 and 4. Just a little bit out in front from the rest. Anir Pew has turned for home. Alan Jones has turned for home. Lyle Windelburn has turned for home. Down the last side they come. Who's going to be the first to slip this one down the portal? It's going to be very close, I'd say. Anir Pew pushing that steel as hard as she'll go. He's really trying now out the hind leg. Alan Jones is coming after him. He's saying, come on, we got to sit on a plane home together. I'm not having you putting up with bragging all the way. He's going into the pen. In goes Anir Pew. In goes Alan Jones. Oh, change of steel for Anir Pew. In goes Lyle Windelburn. Now we've got a ding-dong on, John.
Oh, they're loving it, all right, eh? Just noticed a little hand speed picked up there for Windelburn. He's just starting to fire the shots a bit quicker. So he knows he needs to, just keep it down, keep it flat, but keep him hitting like the old sewing machine. Down that last side, he was really flying. Out the last leg now comes the Masterton man, Tane Mariha. Oh, come on, he pops the head out now. Just wants a little bit of relief from the stress. The sheep wouldn't quite sit for him, and he's rocking out that last leg. One over the hock, one over the tail, and down the chute it goes. Ooh, but where are we in the pace? Nothing on the board for Jesse Edmonds down there, the Whanganui man. First off leg coming in for him. Fleming down the far end. Over the shoulder and down and out to the flank. He's about to come. Working hard at the back of the field, but he might be in spot number 6, but his quality's still pretty handy up there on the big board. Under the shoulder and about to the down to the flank. These Welsh boys are blow for blow. They're winding into it. Windelburn turns for home now on the money side of the sheep as the Welsh lads fight it out. Under the shoulder for Pew. Under the shoulder now for Jones. Look at them stroke it off down the last side. Pew's got a couple of blows in front of him there. And over the shoulder the last side available now. Under them down and out to the flank for Windelburn. Into the long blow for Edmonds. This is the last of the intermediate semi-finalists for Trust House. Oh, hit the button, and what did he get? An 8 minutes and 50 odd for Pew. Put in a good shot on that fifth and final sheep. Jones from Wales has done the job here on stand number 2, and not too far behind was Winterburn from Rangiora. Doing the job down there on stand number 5. Jesse Edmonds, by golly, he's got a 2.8 so far. That's pretty handy. A little bit up on the outside, but finishing touches there for our Masterton man on stand number 1. Tony Matty Harp. Out the last leg on stand number 5. Now, it ain't over till it's over. You've got to get the last bit of wall off and into the long blow now. Young Larry Fleming going hard as he can, or as hard as the sheep is going to let him. It can be quite difficult shearing down there on that number 6 stand, but that's the luck of the draw. You got no wall to hold you in or guide your sheep out the porthole. You've got to be lined up special as he comes over the last side. These young shearers have put on a fabulous display here for the 2014.
Tani back to stand 1, please. Tani back to stand 1. Oh. Tani Matia.
Up there we go, out the last leg. Out the last leg on stand number 6. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause for all those shearers. Next up we have the World Woolhandling second round. Heat 1, Morel, Herbert, Rimini, Hanari. Heat 2, Pagan, Rimini, Alabaster, Rookie, and Goss.
You just a call, please. Open shearers that haven't registered, do so now. We're looking for Larry Lewis from Dunedin, Sparrow Connor from Masterton. You guys are in the first 2 heats of the Open, so need to see you now, please. Larry Lewis, Sparrow Connor, Periata Abraham, Sean Mathewson,